Ah, all right. Here we are. We're going to have the feet planted about hip distance apart, and our hands are going to rest right on the tops of our hip bones here. And as you inhale, think about filling up the belly and allow the pelvis to just naturally come up so you can feel your hip bones rise. And as you exhale, the hip bones go down and the low back makes contact with the mat. And again, the inhale is going to fill the belly, flare the ribs, the low back lifts and the hips lift. And the exhale, press the low back down, feel the hips dropping down and the ribs tucking in. Nice. Continuing this breath flow, just the low back rocking forward and back, up and down, however you want to think about it. You might close your eyes here so you can really focus on the sensation. And the next time that you have exhaled and you have that low back pressed down, the ribs tucked down, stay here and continue to breathe, but don't let that pelvis move with the breath anymore. So you've got the pelvis locked in place, the low back is down, the hips are down, and the ribs are down, right? So we're not flaring the ribs up. So taking a few breaths here. So we're breathing and bracing. This position of the pelvis creates engagement through the abdominals, and you hopefully can feel that. So you might just take a moment here, you're pressing and you're breathing. So we're bracing and breathing. Nice, release that, just be neutral and natural. Ah, very good. All right, so we're gonna do that same idea and we're gonna add some bridges in. So we're gonna tuck the pelvis under on an exhale, pressing the low back down, maintaining that position of the pelvis. We're going to lift the hips up and pressing into the feet into a bridge position and hold. So you might be like, what do you mean? You told me to keep my pelvis neutral, but you're saying lift the hips. Yeah, so we can lift the hips without extending the low back, or we call this kind of like dumping into the low back, right? So my ribs are still tucked in. I'm tucking under the pelvis, right? That's that posterior tilt, getting a lot of glute engagement here. So we're starting to wake up the hamstrings and the glutes. On your next inhalation, lower down slowly, maintaining that pelvic position and pressing back up. So we're going to exhale to come up and inhale to lower down. You're going to be following your breath through these bridge motions here. Yeah, and your goal is to maintain this neutral spinal position, right? There might be a slight exaggeration on the pelvic posterior tilt, very slight, but we're trying to really maintain this firmness in the abdominals as we move the body around. Good. The next time you're up, stay up. Good. Let the knees go wide as you squeeze your bum together even more. So those cheeks are squeezing tight. Let the knees go wide. You're going to get a lot of engagement in the glute max. Keep squeezing, keep lifting, keep tucking under. Very nice. One final inhalation at the top of this bridge. And as you exhale, slowly lower down and give the knees a big hug. A little rock side to side. Yeah. Good. Knees come up over the hips, shins parallel to the floor, and the heels are the same height as the knees. And be really honest with yourself. So I don't know if you can really see me, but this is how most people do tabletop. Their knees are not, in fact, over their hips. I understand why you want to do this. It's easier, okay? But I want you to be really honest. Get the knees over the actual hips and then press your low back into the mat, okay? That's very important. So we've got this position. We're being really true to the angles, geometry. Press your low back down. Feel that ab engagement. Head is down, slight tuck of the chin to keep the neck long. Very good. And keeping that pressure in the core, pressing the low back into the mat, we're going to tap the right heel slowly onto the mat. And then just as slowly, you're going to bring it back, knee over hip. Nice. And changing sides. And very slowly bringing it in. Okay. So your focus keeps changing sides, keep alternating. Your focus here is not the legs. The legs are moving, but that's not your focus. Your focus is, can I maintain this pelvic position and this core engagement while my legs are moving? That's what we want to practice, right? Because when we're in the boat and we're moving our arms and we're pressing through our legs and people are screaming and yelling and the waves are crashing over the boat, can you maintain your spinal alignment? Can you keep bracing through your core and not start to fall apart and start dumping into the low back and the shoulders going crazy, etc.? So this is where we practice. This is the lab in which we practice. Last one here. Very good. Big knee hug, wide this time, so knees are nice and outside the ribs as you rock and roll. Good. Send the legs out long, arms overhead. Big stretch here. Let the ribs flare up and the low back lift. Point and flex the toes or the ankles. Ah, very nice. Reaching underneath the hamstrings. We're going to roll it up to a seated position. Very good. Yeah, so feel free to sit on some. I couldn't find my yoga blocks. Oh, there's one, actually. Anyway, but you know, I'm a big fan of sitting on something. And the reason is when we are sitting on the floor, a lot of us end up kind of here and we're trying to get that tall spine and it doesn't happen. And that's okay, no shame, right? So sit on something and that's gonna allow you to have that position, then that neutral curvature of the spine. On your inhalation, the right arm is going to reach up really, really high. Exhale to lean yourself into a lateral bend. So the left hand is going to come way out to the side. And I want you to press into the left hand, right? So you can see what happens here is I press into the left hand, right? It's going to help me. It's like an assist, like I'm giving myself an assist here to really get into this bend. As you press into the left hand, you're also going to press down into the right sit bone. Just naturally, that's going to happen, right? So there's this connection to the earth, right? We want to feel grounded and secure. If it feels okay for your neck this early, you can look up past the elbow. There's a lot of energy in the fingers. Connecting with the breath in and out through the nose. Soften your face. Good. When the inhale comes, rise up with both arms. Reach, reach, reach. Exhale, reach far out with that hand and then press into the hand to anchor down now through the right sit bone. Yes. And then a big reach over. Breathing space into the side body. Taking deep inhales and exhales through the nose. You might even find it might be a little uncomfortable, right? The sensation of the breath right now. That's okay. Good. On the inhalation, both arms come high, and the exhale is going to bring us into a twist. So maybe the fingertips touch behind you, or they can rest on the low back. Drop the shoulders out of the ears as you gently look over the left shoulder behind you. Thinking length on every inhale, because that's what the inhale does, right? It creates space and length in the body. Let that happen. And then the exhalation contracts the body, allowing us to come deeper into whatever posture we might be in. On your next inhalation, both arms come high, reach, 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 look up. Exhale to turn to the other side. Good. Shoulders drop away from ears. Length on the inhales, depth on the exhales. Good. On the inhale, both arms come high over the head. And on the exhale, we come into tabletop position. Hands under the shoulders and knees under the hips. Yes, fanning out the fingers nice and wide. Tops of the feet are down. We're going to begin in a cat and cow here, but we're going to remember what happened in the beginning. And as we begin this cat and cow, initiate only with the pelvis. So the pelvis is going to first be give that anterior tilt, and then let that wave go up the spine into the neck and head. And then the exhale comes, the first thing you do is tuck the pelvis under. And then again, that wave is going to move from the bottom to the top of the spine. So always initiating with the pelvis. How many times am I going to say pelvis? I don't know. Feels like it should be like a drinking game or something. You can watch this later with your friends. Snow day drinking game. Good. Returning to neutral spine. Now we're going to try to do the same thing that we did, a similar exercise. It's not as easy because without the floor underneath us, it's harder for us to regulate our movement. So we're going to do a slight tuck under of the pelvis, brace through the core, and I'm going to bring my shoulder blades together. So my chest just got closer to the floor, and then I'm going to press the floor away. All right, so without bending the elbows, I'm letting the shoulder blades come together. And then I'm pressing the floor away, protraction and retraction. So let's try a few of these, just at your own pace, or you can link the breath up if you'd like. Now notice if you're dropping your belly as you drop the chest, right? And don't do that. Right, so reconnect with that position of the pelvis. It stays neutral. Ribs are in, and we're really doing our best to isolate the mid-low traps, this thoracic spine. Notice if you're bending your elbows, right? Try to keep the elbows straight. Very nice. The next time that you are pressing the floor away, hold. So you're really pushing away. The shoulder blades are coming away from the spine. Press, 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 press. Nice neutral neck. Very good. Drop the chest towards the mat and hold here. So we're going to hear our shoulder blades are squeezing in and our shoulders are going down, right? So the other thing that can happen here is we start to shrug the shoulders into the ears. Notice the position of the pelvis. Yes. Make sure nice and neutral. Good. Back to a neutral position. Widen out the knees. Big toes together. Extended child's pose. Relax. Forehead comes down. Taking a few cleansing breaths. Our cleansing breath is in through the nose and out through the mouth. So it's like a sighing breath. You'll notice that if you have a dog, your dog will do that frequently. Okay, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Good. Returning to that table position. Just gonna turn around here. Right leg is gonna go out 90 degrees. Tuck your back toes under and rock back and forth to the hip, to the heel. So the hip is moving back towards the heel. Good. Pausing at the top. On your inhalation, the right arm lifts high, opening up. Exhale to reach under and through, but keep the left arm straight. Inhale to reach high. Nice. And then exhale to reach under, keeping the other arm straight. That is your pillar of strength. Good. Good. Planting the right hand and then changing sides. So left leg is going to come out 90 degrees. Tuck the back toes and rocking a little back and forth. Good. Pausing at at the top. This time the left arm will reach high, squeezing the shoulder blade in, and then reaching it through, shoulder blade comes away. A lot of retraction and protraction movements today. Good. Returning to neutral tabletop position. So hand comes in and the knee comes in. Lovely. Nice. We're going to tuck the toes under and hover the knees about 2 inches off of the floor. Good. So from here, pelvic tilt. So tucking the pelvis under and really pressing the floor away. So take a look at the knees. Again, they're only about 2 inches off of the floor. Nice. Begin to crouch so the hips start to drop towards the heels. The knees stay lifted. The knees stay lifted. And then from here, start to lift the hips and straighten through the knees. We are in down dog. And then roll yourself forward and drop the knees back down. So this is the wheel, right? So we go back, up, forward, and drop. Back, up, forward, and drop. Good. A few more at your own pace. Good. Pausing in your down dog. Lengthen your dog a little bit because when you start from a tabletop, usually there's not as much space between the hands and the feet. So walk the hands out a few inches. Bend in the knees, soften and loose through the ankles, and then press the chest back towards the thighs, but keep your ears in line with your biceps. Good. Feel free to walk out the dog a little bit or moving in whatever way is going to help you settle in. Good. Finding stillness. Walk your hands all the way to your feet. So we're at the back of your mat, and then hang over your legs. Let your head go, clasp onto your elbows, ragdoll, bringing in a nice deep bend in the knees, enough that your belly makes contact with your thighs. That's how much of a bend that we want. Big inhale through the nose, let it out through the mouth. Good. Releasing your elbows, deep, keeping that nice deep bend in the knees. We are going to roll to stand, so your arms are hanging like salamis, nice and loose. The bend in the knee stays until the very last second. So keeping that bend as you unfurl the spine. And then when your head lifts, that's when your knees will finally straighten. Good. The shoulders roll back, palms facing the front of the mat. So this is external rotation. That's why we're so obsessed in yoga with opening, right? Because we want that posture, that open heart. Very nice. On your inhale, arms come high over the head. Exhale, push your butt back. Bend your knees as you come down. Inhale, walk it out to your plank. Exhale, hold at the top of your plank, creating a straight line as much as you can. So we're pressing the floor away. There's a little doming happening in the upper back. A little tuck of the pelvis and squeezing your quads. Good. So on an inhale, we're going to go back into down dog and lift the right leg. Exhale, bring the right foot to the outside of the right pinky. Very nice. Yeah, so we're in a really long lunge position. You can always take many steps to get here, right? Now, option always to drop to the back knee. Otherwise, stay high. Keep a lot of engagement in that back leg and reach up with the right arm. Very nice. Yeah, so we're reaching up towards the ceiling now, and then we're going to start to drop the arm and reach behind. Yeah, so we're going to inhale, reaching up. Exhale, reach behind. And your eyes are following your hands if they can. Good. Plant the hand on the inside. Drop the back knee if it's not dropped, and untuck the big toe. Yeah, nice. We're gonna send the hips back, and we're gonna straighten out through the front knee, the front legs. This is a half splits. So a little straightness here, or full, whatever your body allows. You can move your arms around. You might want to balance yourself differently. That's fine. Flexing through that ankle, and then point. A few more just like that. Flex and point. Nice. Rocking the weight back, or rocking the weight forward to come back to that low lunge. So the back knee is down for now. Yes, okay. Tuck back toes under. Everybody lift the knee. Downward facing dog. Good. Glide forward into your plank. All right, on an inhale, we lift the left leg and reach up, three-legged plank. Exhale to bring the foot to the outside of the pinky. Very nice. Option always to drop the back knee down. We're gonna reach up with the left arm, straight up. Good, and we're gonna start that little flow, reaching back behind, and then reaching up. Few more times just like that with the breath. Good. Plant the hand, drop the back knee if it's not dropped, untuck the back toe, and send the hips back. And we end up in a little half splits here. Point and flex through the ankle. Yeah. Deep breaths in and out through the nose. Good. Rock the weight forward, plant the hands, tuck the back toes, and lift the back knee. Good work. When your exhale comes, downward facing dog. Good. Glide forward to a plank. Nice. So we practiced this last time. We are all going to go to the knees, but keep the toes tucked for now because we got some push-ups here. So we're going to do 3. And the pelvic positioning is really important here because normally when people do these push-ups, they do them like this, right? You can see my hips have now started to just totally sag. There's a lot of compression in my low back. So we start with a really strong core, pressing the floor away. Index fingers are pointed towards the top of the mat, and the inside of my elbow, right, if your elbow is pointed straight ahead, not in towards each other, but straight ahead. All right, so we are going to lower down on an inhalation halfway as we hug the elbows in as much as possible. Exhale, press away. 2 more times. Yeah, 1 more time. This time lower all the way down and stay down at the very bottom on the mat, okay? So we're gonna lower down very slow till you touch the mat, and then you're gonna stay down. Oh, it's so nice down here. Okay, bringing the arms down by your sides, point your toes, getting a nice mermaid tail. Yes, forehead comes center. On your inhalation, we're starting with a back bend, just the upper body. So we're gonna lift the chest, lift the front shoulders, and tuck the pelvis under slightly, which you might be like, how would I do that? But you can do it, okay? You're gonna keep this a little bit of pressure more on your pubis bone than your belly button. Okay, so we want to be lifting. This is what we're talking about, that compartmentalization of the spine. The tops of the feet are down. You're squeezing your shoulder blades in and down. Reach for the heels with your fingertips. Very nice. Hands come under the forehead and crocodile rest. You can bring your right cheek to the mat and then wiggle wobble your hips side to side. A little bit of rocking. Very nice. Okay, back to center. This time we are going to bring arms out to the side. So we're going to do airplane arms. And same thing. We're going to keep the top of the feet down. Tuck the pelvis right now. Tuck the pelvis under. Yes, and now lift by squeezing the shoulder blades up and in. Yes, yes, yes. So we're looking at the top of the mat. Don't crick the neck trying to look at the wall in front of you. You are looking slightly down. Keep lifting the arms, lifting the chest, squeezing your butt. Very nice. Lower down all the way. Other cheek to the hands. Take a break. This is a good time for cleansing breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, let it go. Yeah. Send signals to the body to take it easy for a second. Okay. Final back bend is going to be full back bend, including the legs. So arms are going to come back down by our sides. If you want and you love back bends, you can also bring your arms over your head. I'm not going to do that this morning personally, but please feel free. Awesome. So when you feel ready, we're going to lift the chest, lift the arms, and lift the legs. Very nice. Now we got a lot of engagement through the glutes. We are lifting the thighs without bending the knees. Lifting the thighs without bending the knees. I know it's not easy. Yes, keep breathing. I forgot to mention that. Neutral through the neck. Squeeze the shoulder blades in and down towards your butt. Reach, reach, lift, lift. Good. Lower down, hands under shoulders. And then press yourself into a tabletop position. Yeah, very nice. A lot of back bending. Crushed it. Tuck toes, downward facing dog. Walking out the dog, still kind of finding a little looseness in the body. Nice. Look ahead, walk your feet to your hands. And fold over your legs. Good. Bring a nice bend into your knees, rolling it up very slowly. Your knees are the last thing that are going to straighten, and it's going to happen when you lift your head. And we arrive at the top of the mat. Very good. All right, let's get moving. On the inhale, arms sweep high over the head. Exhale, full forward fold. Half a lifting on an inhale. Left leg steps back on the exhale. Inhale, rise to stand, high lunge position. Exhale, goddess arms, bend the back knee down. Inhale to reach high. Straighten the back leg, straighten the front leg. Exhale, bend the knees, goddess arms. Few more times. We reach high, straightening arms and legs. Exhale, we sink down. 2 more times. Good. This time, reach high, stay high. Very nice. Bend in the front knee. Keep the back leg straight. And then we're going to come forward, hinging at the right hips, or at the right hip. And the arms are reaching behind. Yeah. Straighten the heck out of your back leg. Really squeeze it. Really engage it. Front knee over front ankle. Squeeze the shoulder blades in and down. Right? So again, we've got this really open chest, really engaged back. Very nice. Inhale here. As you exhale, the arms are going to come over the head, but the rest of your body doesn't move. Inhale back. Exhale up, reach. Thumbs reach high. Good. Inhale back. Exhale up, reach those thumbs high. One more time. This time as the thumbs reach high, you are going to come into an upright posture. So we return to our high lunge position. Very nice. Okay. One final inhalation here. As you exhale, plank position. Good. Holding that plank, pressing the floor away, tucking the pelvis, feeling that engagement in the core. Good. Dropping down to the knees. Inhale here. As you exhale, slowly, slowly, slowly lower. And then coming into back bend on the inhale, untuck the toes, downward facing dog on the exhale. Inhale, feet to hands, top of the mat. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, rise to stand your way. Might take more than one breath, that's okay. And then we all meet in Tadasana, arms by the sides. Very nice. Let's go again, second side. Inhale, lift high. Exhale to fold forward. Halfway lifting on an inhalation. Right leg steps back on the exhalation. Inhale, rise into high lunge. Exhale, bend the knees deeply, goddess arms. Inhale, straighten arms and legs. Exhale, finding that back bend. A few more times. Good. Next time you reach high, stay high. Exhale to come into our hip hinge, arms down by the sides. Very nice. So front knee over front ankle, long and very strong engaged back leg. You are balanced on the ball of the back foot. Good. Inhale here. As you exhale, reach over the head. If you feel like you have a lot of limited range here, reach a little wider. So think capital Y, not an 11, like arms right next to your ears. You know what I mean? Make the space you need. Good. The next time the arms go high, you will follow, so the upper body rises. Very nice. We're in our high lunge position once again. Good. Final inhalation here. As you exhale, high plank position. Very nice. Take an inhale at the top of your plank. As you exhale, slowly lower down, hug the elbows in. Back bend on the inhalation. Down dog on the exhale. Inhale, bring the right foot high. Exhale to bring it to the top of the mat. Good. So we are now framing that front foot, and we're going to rise into our high lunge position once again. Very nice. Hands come to the heart. Now, there's a few ways to come into this twisted lunge. You can drop the back knee to do it. So that's an option for the legs. So you can decide now or later. So we're going to hinge forward slightly at the hips. And then we're going to take the outside of the arm and we're going to really hook it onto the outside of the thigh. Yes. And then the top hand makes contact with the bottom. So what happens a lot is people then just kind of collapse and they end up like this, right? I want you to press into the leg presses into the arm, top hand into bottom hand, shoulders down. Yeah. Now, option here, if that feels like I'm not gonna get my outside of my upper arm hooked on, open the arm. So now the top of the bottom, right, my forearm here, that's making contact, okay? And then my other hand comes to my low back, okay? This just gives you more space for your upper body. Yeah. A lot of reasons why we might need it. Don't analyze it. Just take the option that makes sense for you. Very nice. On your inhale, arms come high. Exhale, high plank position. Inhale at the top of your plank. Exhale to lower down. Back bend on the inhale. Down dog on the exhale. Inhale, lift left leg high. Exhale, bring it to the top of the mat. Good. Steady, steady, steady. When you feel ready, then you rise up. Good. We're in a high lunge, or you can drop the back knee down. Hands come to heart, hinge forward at the hip. Yes, and then find the twist. Good. Remembering you want to focus on what is happening in the spine. Yeah, so think about shoulders down out of your ears. So a long spine, finding extension, think length on the inhales and depth on the exhale. Shoulders out of the ears. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Press into the leg. Leg presses to arm presses to leg. On your inhale, both arms come high over the head. Exhale, high plank position. Inhale at the top of the plank, and as you exhale, lower all the way down. Back bend comes on the inhalation, and child's pose on the exhale. Good, you can drape your hands by your sides here. Instead of having them over the head, it's just a little more restorative, a little bit more nourishing. And bringing your arms over the head if they're by your side. On an inhale, we're going to lift up the right arm as you lift the hips. So we're just going to come up, reach up, and as you exhale, thread the needle and drop your hips back to your heels. The shoulder comes all the way down. And the right arm or the left arm is reaching all the way up, tented fingertips, so you can look under your armpit. I'll go the other way just so you can see if you're not sure what I'm talking about. So we are in a twisted child's, So the hips are still sinking back towards the heels. And we're breathing space into the upper back. Good. On the inhalation, rise up, reach that left arm or right arm, I think. I don't know. Now I'm confused. And then come back to your extended child's. And then lift up other arm. I don't know if it's your right or left now. It's going to reach high. And thread the needle through. Yeah, so just ending up on the second side. Good. Rising up on an inhale, reach high with that arm once again. And then returning to tabletop. So hand will plant, knees come under the hips. You're going to crisscross at the ankles to push onto your bum. And we'll come to lie down on our backs. From here, figure 4 is coming your way. So ankle crosses over the thigh. You can give the legs a hug or keep the foot planted. Right, whatever feels productive to you. Yeah. Notice that you're breathing into your low belly as we start to walk ourselves into our recovery part of the yoga practice. So oftentimes some parts of our body and mind, they don't get the memo that the workout part is done, right? So you have these parts of you that are still feeling tense or kind of like amped up, right? So we learn to communicate, to notice, right? First notice, and then to communicate with those parts, sending breath and giving that permission to let go. Good, change sides. This is particularly important as athletes. One of the skills that I've worked on a lot is my recovery. And so being able to, like, after a really big piece, to be able to really go inward and recover and be with myself, guide myself to bring my heart rate down, to bring my breath down, to bring my respiratory system back, to bring my nervous system down, right? So that I can then better perform for the next piece. So kind of a interesting skill to work on that is offered here on the mat. Good. Let's send the right leg long onto the mat, let it rest. And then bend the left knee to 90 degrees. And from that 90-degree place, we're going to bring ourselves into a twist. Now, as the knee goes right, we're going to pick up the hips and scoot the hips to the center of the mat. And you can place your left hand on the back of your pelvis and notice that it is perpendicular to the mat, right? So there's like a 90-degree angle, our pelvis and the floor. Yes. Yeah. And then we can also pick up from our elbows and scooch our right shoulder blade a little bit to the right. So we are encouraging the left shoulder blade to come down. So although I have this perpendicular position of my pelvis, both of my shoulder blades are down, right? And this doesn't have to happen exactly, but that's the idea behind this particular twist. Yeah, so it doesn't need to be perfect, but just imagining that, doing your best. And then accepting your best and just being able to relax. A big inhalation here in your twist. And as you exhale, use a helping hand to bring yourself back to center. Press into the feet. Bring the hips back to the center of the mat. Shoulders back to center, right? Getting ourselves situated. Now let's stretch the left leg long. And take a second to, you might just go, take the twist kind of like, oh, I know where I'm going, right? But just take a second, really think about what's going on here. Get that 90 degrees. Gently, this comes across. Try to keep the 90 degrees in the knee. And then once you come into your twist, scooch those hips back towards the center of the mat. The hand comes to the low back. Notice that that pelvis is neutral. And then move that twist up the back, right? So we're trying to find this rotational ability through the mid spine, Thoracic mobility is one of the most important things about having a dragon boat stroke that is not just powerful, but one that will not injure you, right? So, and that's in general for life. Thoracic mobility, because of the lifestyles we're living now on our computers and driving and sitting a lot, we really lack as a population, as a modern population, thoracic mobility. So it's something that you'll see a lot here in your Poga, but also your other OST training. And one more big inhalation here. And as you exhale, helping yourself back to center. Good. Giving the knees a little hug and a gentle rock, side to side, a little massage for the low back. Rolling ourselves into a seated posture. Let me check the time. Cool. We can be here quiet for a few seconds. Taking a few cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, and then sealing the lips, breathing gently just through the nose. Bringing palms together in front of the heart, gently touching thumbs to the forehead for wise thoughts, thumbs to the lips for kind words, thumbs to the heart for a courageous heart. And with this, we end class. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you so much. Peace, peace, peace to you. And I appreciate you so much being here to practice with me today on our little Poga adventure. I will come over, stop recording. If anybody has questions or comments, we can chat.